What's going on, everyone? Luca Rosano here, back with another video. The Toronto Raptors, they are down 0-3. This series is all but over after they lose to the Philadelphia 76ers in overtime, 104-101. It was a very entertaining game, a much better game for the Raptors in the first two. But all in all, the Raptors come up short. And Shaquille O'Neal, who got a lot of criticism, Raptors fans were attacking him after he said Raptors were going to get swept, is one more Sixers win away from that prediction coming true. I'm sick knowing that it could very well happen. That prediction could very well come through, as the Sixers, they won a roller coaster of a game, and it was Joel Embiid with poetic justice, shades of the Kawhi Leonard shot, hitting an unbelievable three-pointer in the dying seconds of the shot clock. There was 0.9 of a second left on the shot clock in overtime to put this game on ice for Philadelphia. Joel Embiid, 3 years ago, was crying in Toronto in a Game 7 after Kawhi Leonard hit that shot and the Raptors moved on to the Eastern Conference Finals. Well, fast forward 3 years later, he's smiling after hitting the shot that gives the Sixers essentially the knockout punch in this one. Now let's talk about this game. The Toronto Raptors had a 17-point lead. They came out with so much better energy. Their compete level was there. They just looked all around much better than they did in the first two games. But they shot the ball horribly, which is why the Philadelphia 76ers clawed all the way back. The Sixers took their first lead in this game in overtime. That just tells you how the Raptors missed out on so many key opportunities. Not to mention, Precious Achiuwa could have won the game with 2 free throws and he missed both. But you look at the Raptors and their shooting woes. Let's start with Fred VanVleet. He had 12 points. 5 rebounds, 9 assists. He was 3 of 13 from the field. The threes were not falling, just 2 of 10. He cannot hit a shot when it mattered. The other culprit, Pascal Siakam. 12 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists. 6 of 16 from the field. And quite frankly, Pascal Siakam looked uncomfortable with the basketball throughout this game. He did not look like the Pascal Siakam we saw all regular season and the better part of the regular season. He looked like that guy that we saw in the bubble. You can't defend Pascal Siakam anymore, guys. Pascal Siakam, he is not that guy in big time moments. I've said this take from a couple years ago. It got me a lot of heat. Got me a lot of hate. When I put out a video titled The Truth About Pascal Siakam, I stood by that. I was willing to give Pascal Siakam the benefit of the doubt because he showed us that he did bounce back from a regular season standpoint this season. So I said, hey, let's see what Siakam can give us in this big-time playoff series. Pascal Siakam was supposed to look like the Raptors' best player. He looked like a shell of that throughout this entire series. I mean, just his body language, him with the basketball in his hands, him missing shots that he normally makes. It was tough to watch. It really was. It was frustrating to watch. And I'm not going to just put it all on Siakam. This is more about the Raptors' stars not coming through. Fred VanVleet and Pascal Siakam, they shot what? A combined 9 for 29 from the field. The Raptors' all-stars did not come up big. So Fred VanVleet is to blame as much as Siakam. But when you look at this team, the success they had all season, they needed those guys to be great, especially Siakam being the quote-unquote best player on this team. OG Anunoby had 26, 5, and 4. He was a guy that I had a lot of confidence in. He looked confident in some of those moments. Now, granted, he did miss a Kile free throw, but he was a guy who's stepping up. Gary Trent Jr., he bounced back. He had 24, 2 and 2. Precious Achiuwa, I know he missed those free throws, but he had 20 from off the bench. He had a nice game. But the Raptors stars could not hang with the Sixers' best. And in this league, superstars win you series, superstars win you championships, which is why the Raptors had a great deal of success with a guy named Kawhi Leonard Well, the Sixers have a superstar, and that is why they have tremendous success, especially in this series. Joel Embiid played like the best player by a landslide, and he had a magnificent game 3. 33 points, 13 rebounds, hit the game-winning shot. He's my pick to win MVP. That might be music to Sixers fans' ears. Joel Embiid, he could do no wrong. And you look at the Raptors, it's just disappointing because a lot of people had them winning the series. And quite frankly, that's when I was getting a little concerned because everybody was picking the Raptors to win this series. Nobody really showed the Philadelphia 76ers any respect, I'll be honest. A lot of people were overlooking them. A lot of people were writing them off. I know I was one of them. Well, they shut me up. I got to give them their flowers. They came to play this series, and this was a game 3. I thought the Raptors were going to coast to a victory, but the Sixers hung around, coming on back and winning this game the way that they did. Now, if you want to look at this as half glass full, the Toronto Raptors still exceeded expectations. Even if they go down in a sweep, nobody had them, or I'm not going to say nobody because some people had them, but very little people had them finishing 5th. Very little people had them in this spot. They did have good seasons from guys like, Van Vliet, Siakam in the regular season. And this was still, quote unquote, a developmental year. And it was great to see the development of Scotty Barnes. But in the grand scheme of things, when talking about competing for the grandest prize, Raptors management is going to have to possibly make some decisions. They're going to have to look at this, and they got to say to themselves, is this group good enough to compete with the Sixers of the world, to compete with the Celtics of the world, to compete with the Miami Heat, the Bucks? So this is going to be a tough one to swallow for many. Philadelphia, 1 win away from moving on to the next round. This is a very good team, and they're showing us their best when it matters the most. As for the Toronto Raptors, what can I say? This is a team that you got some good young pieces, and you just got to continue to build around those guys. I'm a big fan of OG. I always have been. I think Gary Trent Jr. can be very good. And Scotty Barnes is going to be the prize, the future, and I think the face of this franchise. And that's a guy who he has to be taken seriously. You have to prioritize him over everybody else, in my opinion. That's just my 2 cents on all of that. It's disappointing. I had Raptors in 6. Sixers fans, congrats. I mean, the series isn't over yet, but if the Sixers win the series, I'm going to have to officially eat my words, and I don't like doing that. I was a little overly confident, I'll admit, going into this one. And, I did not anticipate this being as lopsided as it is. And I did not think the Sixers were going to look this good, especially that supporting cast. Guys like Maxey, Tobias Harris hitting shots. They were just good. They got good production in game 3, and Embiid did his thing. The scary part is Harden wasn't even that standout with his offense. Yeah, he was facilitating well, getting his teammates involved, but I thought Harden could have been a lot better offensively, and the Sixers are still up 3-0. Go figure. What's your reaction been to the series? What's your reaction to game 3? What's your reaction to some of the takes that I made? Let me know in the comment section down below. Drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell. You definitely don't want to miss out on another upload on the Luca Rosano YouTube channel. I will still be doing postseason coverage, even if the Raptors don't advance throughout. So you definitely want to keep it locked and loaded on this channel for more. We just hit 26.4K. Thank you so much for that. Let's hit 26.5K and keep growing this channel. This is Luca Rosano signing off. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you all again in the next video.